They say life begins at 70. When the kids are grown, the responsibilities are lighter, and the world finally feels open to explore. You've waited decades for this moment, the freedom, the adventure, the long-awaited cruise, the trip to Europe, or even just a weekend getaway with old friends. But beneath the excitement lies a quiet truth few people talk about. Because while travel in your golden years can be one of life's greatest joys, it also comes with hidden dangers that most seniors never see coming until it's too late. This isn't about fear, it's about power. It's about being prepared, not scared. And if you're over 70, or love someone who is, what you're about to discover could protect your health, your peace of mind, and even your life. So before you pack your bags and book your tickets, read on. What follows are 5 crucial dangers every senior traveler must know, and how to avoid them. Perhaps the greatest threat to any senior traveler doesn't come from the outside world, it comes from within. After all the planning, the dreaming, and the anticipation, nothing can derail a trip faster than a sudden health crisis. And yet, it's the danger most often overlooked. As we age, our bodies change in ways that aren't always visible until they're tested. A simple change in altitude, a sudden shift in climate, or even the stress of navigating airports can trigger unexpected reactions: shortness of breath, spikes in blood pressure, dizziness, or exhaustion that won't go away with just a short rest. What feels like a minor discomfort at home can become a full-blown emergency abroad. Take, for example, the story of Walter, a 74-year-old grandfather who planned a 2-week vacation through Italy with his wife. Fit and active for his age, he thought nothing of the long flights, the cobblestone streets, or the heat of a Mediterranean summer. But just 2 days into the trip, while climbing the steps of a historic cathedral, Walter collapsed. It turned out to be a minor stroke, something his doctors believe could have been avoided with a pre-travel checkup and more attention to hydration and rest. Stories like Walter's are more common than we think. Seniors are more susceptible to dehydration, especially during air travel. Long flights can increase the risk of blood clots. Fatigue sets in faster. Even jet lag hits harder and lasts longer. These physical changes aren't a reason to stop traveling. They're a reason to start preparing smarter. One of the most powerful steps you can take is scheduling a full health checkup before your trip. Not just a routine visit, but a comprehensive review of medications, any chronic conditions, and your body's response to stress. It's also a good time to ask about vaccinations, travel-related health risks, and whether your insurance covers emergencies abroad. Equally important is travel insurance designed specifically for older adults. Many plans exclude pre-existing conditions or have age-related limitations, so reading the fine print and choosing wisely can make the difference between peace of mind and a nightmare in a foreign hospital. If something goes wrong, you want to know you'll have access to the care you need without hesitation. And then there's the essentials that often get forgotten. Carrying a clear list of your current medications, allergies, and emergency contacts. Having that information easily accessible in both physical and digital forms can save valuable time when it matters most. Keep a small health kit with you, including medications, a water bottle, and healthy snacks. Sometimes avoiding a crisis is as simple as staying hydrated and taking breaks. But perhaps the most important thing to remember is that self-awareness is not weakness, it's wisdom. Listening to your body, pacing your activities, and giving yourself permission to rest isn't slowing down. It's how you make your travels last longer, feel better, and stay safer. If you're watching this and nodding your head because you've been there or you've seen a loved one go through it, this is your moment to act. Your health doesn't have to be a roadblock. With the right preparation, it becomes the foundation of every unforgettable journey. So before you plan the museums, the dinners, the walking tours, take a moment to plan for you. Because the most beautiful places in the world are even better when you're well enough to enjoy them. Good health is the foundation of a meaningful journey, but even the healthiest traveler isn't immune to another growing threat: scams. And unfortunately, seniors are among the most frequent targets. You've worked hard your whole life, saved carefully, and finally earned the freedom to travel. But for some, this dream becomes an opportunity, not for adventure, but for exploitation. Across airports, hotels, busy city streets, and even online, there are people who see older travelers not as guests, but as easy marks. It often starts with kindness. A smiling face at the train station offering to help with your bag. A friendly voice on the phone claiming you've won a free vacation. Or a helpful-looking email from what appears to be your hotel asking you to confirm your credit card details. These scams are subtle, sophisticated, and often incredibly convincing. And for seniors who may not be as comfortable with technology or who tend to be more trusting, they can be devastating. Consider the story of Joan, a 76-year-old widow from Florida who booked a dream river cruise through Europe after retiring. She received what looked like a legitimate confirmation email from her tour company asking for a final payment due to a last-minute change. She clicked the link, filled in her information, and within hours, her bank account was emptied. The company never existed. Her dream vacation was gone in an instant. Sadly, Joan is not alone. In fact, travel scams targeting seniors have increased in recent years, especially as more older adults embrace online booking and mobile payments. These scams aren't limited to complex fraud. Sometimes they're as simple as a cab driver inflating a fare or a fake tour guide leading you away from a major attraction and into danger. Why are older travelers so vulnerable? The reasons are more human than you might think. Seniors often value politeness and may hesitate to say no or seem rude. Many aren't as familiar with digital security, making them more likely to click suspicious links or fall for phishing emails. Some simply aren't aware of the tactics scammers use until it's too late. But here's the good news. Awareness is your greatest defense. First, always book through reputable, well-reviewed travel agencies or websites. If something sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Avoid clicking on unsolicited emails or phone calls offering last-minute deals. And never give out personal or financial information over public Wi-Fi or to anyone you didn't contact first. Second, bring backup, both digital and human. Share your travel plans with a trusted friend or family member. Let them know your hotel name, your itinerary, and any confirmations you receive. That way, there's always someone to double-check suspicious messages or help verify what's real and what isn't. It also helps to carry a phone with a secure travel app or GPS tracker, especially if you're venturing into unfamiliar areas. These small tools can provide peace of mind and help you get help quickly if something feels wrong. Don't be afraid to ask hotel staff to verify bookings or help you confirm transportation. And if you're unsure about a situation, trust your instincts, say no, walk away, and ask for help. But perhaps the most powerful tool of all is confidence. Scammers prey on fear, confusion, and hesitation. When you know what to look for and you're not afraid to speak up, you become much harder to fool. You don't need to be paranoid. You just need to be prepared. If you or someone you love has experienced travel fraud, you're not alone. These stories are painful, but they also remind us why sharing knowledge matters. You have the power to protect not only yourself, but others, by being informed, alert, and unafraid to speak up when something feels wrong. So as you plan your next journey, do it with joy, but also with wisdom. Because protecting your peace of mind is just as important as packing your suitcase. And with the right knowledge, you can keep your travels filled with wonder, not worry. Once you've taken the steps to protect your health and stay alert to scams, it might feel like you're ready for anything the world throws at you. But there's another invisible challenge that can sneak up on even the most experienced traveler, one that doesn't involve people or planning, but something much harder to control: the environment itself. For seniors, sudden changes in climate or time zones can be more than just inconvenient. They can seriously impact well-being, energy, and the ability to enjoy the trip. You might dream of escaping a cold winter for a warm island breeze, or jetting off from the dry air of Arizona to the damp chill of London. But your body might not be ready for the shock. As we age, our internal systems become less adaptable. Temperature regulation slows down, making older adults more susceptible to heat exhaustion or hypothermia. A sunny afternoon in a tropical city might feel refreshing at first, but for someone over 70, prolonged heat exposure can lead to dehydration, dizziness, or even heat stroke. On the flip side, colder destinations increase the risk of stiff joints, increased blood pressure, and respiratory discomfort. Then there's jet lag, the subtle thief of joy for so many travelers. Crossing multiple time zones can disrupt your sleep schedule, affect digestion, and leave you feeling groggy or disoriented for days. For younger people, this might mean a few sluggish mornings, but for older adults, the effects are often more severe. Insomnia, increased fall risk, and even temporary cognitive fog. Not exactly the dream vacation you had in mind. Take the example of George and Helen, a couple in their early 70s who flew from New York to Tokyo for their anniversary. The 13-hour flight and 14-hour time difference hit them harder than expected. George, who usually had no problem walking, found himself struggling to stay awake during the day and wide-eyed all night. Helen became nauseous from the humidity and lack of rest. Their carefully planned itinerary of sightseeing and local cuisine quickly turned into hours spent in their hotel room, recovering. These challenges don't mean you should avoid faraway places or bold adventures. They simply mean that thoughtful preparation is essential. One of the best things you can do is give your body time to adjust. If you're changing time zones, start shifting your sleep and meal times a few days before departure. Hydrate well before and during the flight, and avoid alcohol or heavy meals that can intensify jet lag. Layered clothing is your best friend in uncertain climates. It allows you to regulate your temperature naturally and stay comfortable without relying on air conditioning or heat. Always check the weather forecast, not just the temperature, but humidity, wind, and sun exposure. What feels like a mild 75 degrees Fahrenheit at home might feel sweltering after hours of walking in the sun. More importantly, listen to your body. If you feel unusually tired or lightheaded, don't push through just to stick to the schedule. Build flexibility into your plans and give yourself space to slow down. You're not missing out. You're making your experience more sustainable. Traveling in your golden years is about balance, the thrill of discovery with the wisdom of experience. Yes, the weather might surprise you. Yes, the time zones might throw you off, but with awareness, patience, and a little grace, your journey doesn't have to be defined by these challenges. Because the truth is, the most unforgettable moments often come not from how much you do, but how deeply you experience where you are. So let your body catch up. Let your spirit settle in. And remember, it's not about how far you go, it's about how fully you arrive. Even when you've prepared for the physical demands of travel and the unpredictability of the weather, there's another, quieter challenge that can catch seniors off guard, especially in unfamiliar environments: disorientation and short-term memory issues. Travel takes us out of our routine, and that's part of what makes it so exciting. New sights, new faces, new streets with names you've never heard before. But for older adults, particularly those dealing with age-related memory changes, this sudden break from the familiar can lead to confusion, frustration, or even fear. You may have experienced it yourself or seen it happen to someone close. A familiar landmark suddenly looks unfamiliar. A hotel room starts to blend with the last one. Names and addresses you thought you memorized just hours ago seem to vanish. And in a crowded station, a busy square, or even a museum, that split second of not knowing where you are or how to get back can feel overwhelming. This isn't necessarily a sign of serious cognitive decline. It's simply that short-term memory becomes more fragile with age, especially when paired with jet lag, fatigue, and the sensory overload of travel. Even healthy, active seniors can find themselves losing track of time, forgetting the name of their hotel, or taking a wrong turn that quickly becomes disorienting. Take the case of Arthur, an 80-year-old solo traveler who went on a cruise through the Mediterranean. During a stop in Barcelona, he stepped away from the guided tour to take some photos. But when he turned around, the group was gone. He couldn't recall the name of the guide, the ship, or even the dock it was anchored at. For nearly 3 hours, he wandered the city in panic before a kind local helped him call the port authority. Thankfully, he made it back, but the fear stayed with him for the rest of the trip. Situations like Arthur's aren't rare, and they can happen in an instant, especially in places where language barriers or unfamiliar customs make communication harder. But there are ways to travel safely and confidently, even when memory isn't as sharp as it used to be. One of the most effective strategies is preparation. Always carry a small laminated card or note with your name, hotel address, emergency contacts, and any medical information in both English and the local language. Keep it in your wallet or pocket and have a copy saved on your phone. It seems simple, but it can be a lifeline when memory slips. Another helpful tip is to take photos of important locations, your hotel entrance, the street sign, the bus stop, so you have visual cues to help retrace your steps if needed. Many seniors also find it helpful to wear a discreet ID bracelet with a QR code linking to emergency information. Technology can also be a powerful ally. GPS tracking apps that share your real-time location with family back home or travel companions can provide peace of mind. Some even allow loved ones to send directions or alerts if they notice you've gone off course. But more than anything, it's about giving yourself grace. Traveling at any age is mentally taxing, and the pressure to remember everything perfectly doesn't help. Give yourself space to slow down. Choose guided tours or small group experiences where support is built in. Avoid overly packed itineraries that increase stress and decrease focus. And if you feel overwhelmed, don't hesitate to ask for help. Most people are more than willing to assist, especially when approached with honesty and calm. Disorientation doesn't have to be a source of shame or fear. It's a reminder that our minds, just like our bodies, need support and kindness, especially when we're far from home. And with the right planning, a little awareness, and a lot of self-compassion, you can keep your travels full of wonder, not worry, because the world is still waiting for you, and you deserve to explore it with confidence. After overcoming the hurdles of physical health, scams, environmental changes, and mental disorientation, many older travelers return home feeling proud. Rightfully so. They've stretched themselves, embraced the unknown, and brought home a suitcase full of stories and souvenirs. But what often isn't talked about is what happens next. And for many seniors, what happens after the trip can feel heavier than expected. Coming home after a big adventure should feel satisfying, but instead, it sometimes brings an unexpected sense of emptiness. That burst of excitement, purpose, and stimulation that defined the journey suddenly disappears, replaced by silence. The vibrant markets, the friendly faces, the colors, the laughter, all gone, like a dream you can't quite return to, and in its place, an aching stillness. This emotional dip, sometimes mild, sometimes deeply unsettling, is more common than we realize. It doesn't always get talked about, especially among older adults who may feel they should feel grateful or content. But in truth, the sudden return to routine, especially for those living alone or far from family, can trigger intense feelings of loneliness, anxiety, or even depression. Evelyn, 74, spent 2 magical weeks in Italy with a group of fellow retirees. She laughed more in those 2 weeks than she had in the past year. But when she returned to her quiet apartment in Minnesota, the contrast hit her like a wave. The photos she took didn't ease the ache. She missed the connection, the rhythm of having somewhere to be, someone to talk to. And slowly, her joy was replaced with something else, a sense of being forgotten. These post-travel blues aren't a weakness. They're a natural part of any emotionally intense experience. For older adults, they can feel sharper because travel often represents more than just a break. It's a time of reconnection with life, with vitality, with identity. And when that moment ends, it can leave a painful void. But here's the truth that often gets lost. You don't have to stay in that space. The key is preparing emotionally, not just for the trip itself, but for what comes after. Before you travel, make plans for your return. Schedule a lunch with a friend, a video call with family, or a local outing. Don't let your calendar go blank the moment you land. Also, take time to reflect on your journey. Journaling, sharing stories, or even creating a photo album with written notes can help process the experience and keep the memories alive in a meaningful way. If you traveled with a group, stay in touch. A simple message or shared memory can go a long way in softening the silence. Most importantly, keep your sense of curiosity alive. Travel doesn't have to mean boarding a plane. Explore a nearby town, volunteer for cultural events in your community, or join a travel-themed book club. The joy you felt abroad can be rekindled at home when you continue to engage with the world around you. Feeling a bit lost after a journey is human. But it's not the end of the story. It's just a new chapter beginning. And with a little care, connection, and self-compassion, you can turn post-travel loneliness into renewed purpose, because your journey doesn't end when you unpack your bags. In many ways, that's when the deepest part of it truly begins. Every journey tells a story, but not every story is remembered the same way. For seniors, travel can be one of the most powerful, life-affirming chapters of all. And yet, as we've explored, it also comes with hidden risks, some physical, some emotional, some unexpected. But here's the truth that matters most. When you're aware of these challenges, when you prepare with care, your journey can still shine with meaning, beauty, and connection. Just because the body moves a little slower or memory needs a little more help doesn't mean adventure is out of reach. It simply means we approach it differently, with wisdom, with patience, and with intention. Each step you take, whether it's across the globe or through your own neighborhood, has the power to fill your life with color, with purpose, with joy. You've earned the right to keep exploring. You've earned the right to feel safe, seen, and supported along the way. Traveling after 70 isn't about chasing youth. It's about embracing life fully, on your own terms. It's about walking into a new place and letting it open something inside you. And most of all, it's about turning moments into memories that warm your heart long after the trip ends. Think back to your favorite journey. Was it the laughter shared over dinner in a foreign cafe? The stillness of a sunset on unfamiliar soil? The way your heart beat a little faster as you stepped off the plane? That feeling, that sense of wonder, is what you carry forward. It becomes part of your story, part of your legacy. So as you plan your next adventure, do so not with fear, but with clarity. Prepare wisely. Travel mindfully. Build in rest, safety, and support. And know that every precaution you take is not to limit your freedom, but to protect the golden moments that await you. Let your journey, no matter how far or how modest, be a celebration of everything you are, because the world is still out there waiting to meet you with open arms. And every trip you take, when done with care and heart, becomes more than just travel. It becomes a golden memory, a gift to yourself, and to everyone who hears your story. Your best adventures don't have to be behind you. In fact, some of your most meaningful ones may still be ahead.